For my research and planning, I analysed 5 existing news programmes to identify the forms and conventions used within them. I looked at the codes and conventions of a typical news broadcast, and I researched different institutions' existing title sequences to supplement my knowledge. My own broadcast utilises these forms and conventions, and also, to some extent, delivers in developing and challenging them. My title sequence includes shots of both rural and urban areas, as well as moving images of different ethnicities and iconic landmarks. These were identified as the 4 main things used within a title sequence. There is also a crescendo of the news jingle implemented at the end of the title sequence. This is something I had deduced from my research and planning, as both the BBC and Channel 5 also implemented this. For the anchors, I chose formal clothing to show that as a broadcaster we are a professional and trustworthy news outlet to the audience. I incorporated name supers for reporters and vox pops and used the news jingle simultaneous to the headlines being read to increase the tension of the segment. I used a broadcaster logo throughout in the form of a bug in the bottom left corner of the display. There were panning shots used with the report when the report was out of vision. Also, there was the use of fast-paced cuts used for transitions to show that we were a typical news broadcaster. Interviewees looked nervously towards the camera to denote that they were involved in an abnormal experience. I incorporated sign-offs from on-location reporters, and vox pops were also filmed on location to make the report appear authentic. I extensively used chroma keys to present information to viewers, and I recorded with a green screen for my closing weather report, which used colloquialism and encouraged audience interaction. The report ended with an enlarged version of the broadcaster logo, simultaneous to the news jingle ending outro. My product also develops the forms and conventions of a news broadcast, with an extensive use of chroma keys, for example. I wanted to specifically personalise the broadcast to the younger audience of teenagers. I attempted to create appeal with a colourful broadcaster logo through implementing images of Birmingham City Centre, a nightlife hub, and an interactive Twitter handle which would encourage young people because they are very familiarised with social media platforms on their mobile devices and thus adept in using them to search convergent links. For my lead story, I chose to report an increase in apprenticeships, as this concerns specifically the younger audience. As well as this, I tried to target them with vox pops from teenagers so that they could relate to the report. My product challenges the forms and conventions of a TV news broadcast by specifically targeting a younger demographic and the use of a personal interest story from the anchor's perspective, which is uncommon. I also chose to remove discos, which are informal conversations between anchors, as I felt colloquialism outside of the stories would make my audience feel detached and therefore hinder my attempts to personalise the story.